Hey guys! Okay, so what's happening? The big news is, of course, that I have moved to Seoul with my husband. We have an apartment in Seoul now. That is all very exciting. So you can see a lot of what we've been doing on the main channel, on the My Korean Husband channel. We have a new series over there called Seoul Life, and every week we answer questions, we show you what we've been doing through the week and a bunch of stuff like that, so you can check that out. It's actually a really big thing for me to move to Seoul because it means that I have to start doing things by myself, like catching the subway by myself. And I've had sort of like 2 years of being quite babied in the Korean countryside, like rarely being able to do much myself, and so I have to sort of find some new confidence and confidence to sort of do things myself and go out to places and be using my Korean and that type of thing. So it's taking me a bit of time to sort of like film stuff and that, because I'm still with Hugh most of the time, and so we're filming stuff together. So as time passes, I think I'll be able to do more videos that are more about me and for this channel. But at the moment, most of the stuff is going on the main channel in the Seoul Life videos. So some people have been wondering what happens with the Nicholalala webtoon since we're not in the countryside anymore. Like, is she moving to Seoul in the webtoon as well? Actually, she's still going to be in the countryside, and that series is mostly going to take place in the Korean countryside. She's not exactly me. She's elements of me, but she's not exactly me, so I don't need to move her out of the countryside. We also will still be going back a lot. Like tomorrow we're going back for the weekend, so there's still going to be that inspiration and stories, you know, that are sort of set in the Korean countryside with that webtoon. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update. Like, I'm doing pretty good. It's a little bit overwhelming moving to Seoul, but on a whole things have been really great, and probably the number one thing has been having our own place. So this is the first time in our married life that we've actually had our own place and not sharing with anybody. So for those that don't know, Sydney is like the second most expensive city to live in the world, I think. So it's quite normal to, even as a married couple, maybe share an apartment there. But Seoul is cheaper actually, even though Koreans always like, Seoul's so expensive. You know, like it's all about what your perspective is and what you've been used to. So as an introvert, I have been loving having my own space, and I can decorate it how I want. And knowing that the only person that's going to be coming in the door is my husband, like there is so much sort of like, I don't know, inner peace with that. Like, I remember always having to share apartments with other people, especially before I got married, and you would be in the apartment and know you're alone for that moment, and then you'd hear the key in the lock and your heart just sinks and the stress starts to rise, because if you're an introvert, if somebody else is in the house who's not your partner, it like drains your energy, even if they're in another room doing something. I always felt such an energy drain, and I found living with other people who are not my husband was just so exhausting. So I don't know, maybe it's something that extroverts don't understand as much. Let me know if you're an extrovert. Do you have these feelings as well? Is it just like human nature, like this desire to have your own space and not have like the flatmate walk in? I also just wanted to let you know some of the things I have been enjoying lately. So my favorite podcast at the moment is called Flash Forward Podcast, and this is a really cool podcast where the host looks at a future, like realistic or not realistic, what it would be like in that future. So it can be like, you know, more apocalypse type future, or what happens if we all have like personal drones attached to our phones or something like that. Like, there's so many different scenarios, and what she does is she talks to experts in the field and gets some sort of predictions, and is this possible or isn't that possible. So I really enjoy listening to this podcast when I'm working. So if you like listening to podcasts, if you like sort of futuristic stuff, or if you just like thinking about scenarios and what you would do in that situation, I recommend checking that one out. Okay, some books I've been enjoying in recent months. I've been reading a lot of books, but there's some books by an author that I want to recommend. So I think I recommend pretty much all the books she has out. This author is called Melissa McShane, and most of her books have these elements of like fantasy and magic, but but then sort of like historical elements as well. I really like them, and I think she does really good strong characters. And don't be thrown off by the covers, because I don't think the covers represent the books that well. Oppa, what books have you been reading? Nothing. Hugh recommends nothing. Great job. Alright, if there's some books you want to recommend to me, leave them in the comment section and let me know what type of videos you'd like me to do now that I'm in Seoul. I'd love to answer some more questions, and I'd love to have some sort of discussion videos talking about all types of topics. So please check out my webtoon on webtoons.com called Nicholalala, and you can check out the main channel that I do with my husband Hugh called My Korean Husband. There's a lot of stuff going up on there. Check out my social media links in the description box, and I'll see you later. Bye!